Hi folks. I grew up on Long Island. Most people who know me or met me during my 20s have heard me talk about this building. 666 Old Country Road in Garden City. I used to be a little obsessed with it. Where a lot of office buildings don't have the best signage and you are lucky to find the number stenciled on the door, this place really broadcasts its sinister address. The entrance facing Old Country Road has a set of human-sized 666s next to it, and the side facing Roosevelt Field Shopping Mall has 3 metal ones hanging over the entrance like some kind of Damocles digits. On the top of both sides of this building sit giant 666s that illuminate at night, giving it a very eerie quality. I really wish I had a picture of it. It is creepy in a very modern sort of way. The mirrored surface and curved corners make it blend into its surroundings like a piece of sci-fi optic camouflage. Because of this, it became a setting in the obligatory unfinished novel I worked on after college. There was a Faustian bargain and Bible characters as I imagined them if they existed in current day. Anyway, despite the address of this building and the grand way it announces this, most people don't notice it, which I find one of the most interesting things about it. I always found it a great metaphor for the situation we find ourselves in. I will come back to that later. I think the first thing that comes to mind when people think of Long Island is suburbs. It is the home of Levittown, the first suburb. Consequently, it has everything that goes along with suburbs, namely car culture and suburban sprawl, and the 666 building sits smack in the middle of one of the biggest shopping areas on the island. As I said earlier, it is right across from Roosevelt Field Mall, and Old Country Road has strip malls and big box stores going east for miles until you hit another mall, followed by more strip malls and big box stores branching off in different directions off of Old Country Road. But Roosevelt Field Mall, which it shares a parking lot with, seems to have been there the longest. Or at least it was there growing up in the 80s, whereas a lot of the retail has sprung up since. I don't know if its mirrored camo surface makes people not notice the building, or if they are too preoccupied shopping. A recent interview with comic writer and magician Alan Moore on Chapo Trap House talked about sinister architecture of buildings he has written about. Buildings that seem to cast a shadow all around them, or attract vagrants, or drive people working there insane. I have always found the idea of sacred architecture interesting. The same goes for profane architecture, I guess. I don't see why a modern-looking building couldn't have occult qualities too, especially considering the mark of the beast it has on display. The fact that it sits in the middle of all this rampant consumerism makes me want to find a connection, in the same way that many cities are thought to have ley lines which channel certain energies. I don't know. It is interesting and does help explain the vibe in certain places. While the 666 building does not attract vagrants, the building certainly has attracted some rather unsavory occupants. Who, you might ask yourself, would occupy such a building? The answer should be obvious. The building is occupied almost entirely by lawyers. I believe the Nassau County Bar Association is located there. So I hope I don't find myself the subject of a lawsuit after making this video. In any case, for whatever the reason, most people don't notice this building. So why do I notice it? Perhaps I have a neurologically atypical aptitude for picking at patterns. If I wanted to make this a full-on conspiracy video, I would explore the fact that these indentations on the sides of the building give the appearance of I Ching hexagrams. Depending on whether you interpret the lines in question as solid or broken, the hexagram is either 61 or 62 in the King Wen sequence. But, I don't know, that seems a bit of a stretch and kind of silly. I find the building more interesting to think of as a metaphor for the time and place it occupies. Late-stage industrial consumer capitalism. People too busy shopping to notice the mark of the beast in their midst. Just as way too many people are way too busy engaged in this consumer lifestyle to notice its consequences on those less fortunate or on the ecosystems that sustain us and all life. I know that sounds rather dark and a throwback to the era when people still read Adbusters and thought about the consequences of rampant consumerism more, but I can't help it. I grew up in a place where some people drive by this every day and don't notice it. So it kind of sticks in my head. For me, this building represents an empty culture, just chasing the trinkets that capitalism puts in front of you to keep you placated. It epitomizes everything that I left Long Island over. Not that this culture is specific to Long Island. It's pretty widespread, but in a way, this building and everything around it represents its apotheosis. Now, I know that there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, but I have mixed feelings about that statement. If someone uses it as a reminder that the system we find ourselves in is inherently unfair and destructive to the planet, and that consequently we should work to change the system rather than think our individual consumer choices can change things, I'm all on board. But if someone uses it as an excuse for not accepting that in order for things to get better, people in the developed world need to use less, then let's just say that, like the building in question, I have a hard time not seeing the mark of the beast where it appears. In a future video, I will address how we can use less and still be better off. It involves decarbonizing and decommodifying our economy, and although it will require people to use less energy and resources, it will ultimately make everyone's life better. Thanks for watching, folks. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you really like what I do here, please support me on Patreon or check out a tarot t-shirt I have for sale. I have links in the description. Patrons at the Rebel tier and up get premium content where I discuss psychedelics, the occult, and other not safe for work type stuff. I hope you will check it out. I just posted the first premium content yesterday. It's an introduction to the series on psychedelics. I'm Greg Belvedere. Remember, all generalizations are stupid, so never speak in absolutes. Rebel Base, out.
You